So here I am. I'm going to show how to split this piece of wood. It's a piece of hickory that I just cut off with my small slide saw here. So this is about the maximum diameter, I guess about 4 inches diameter. And for this saw, I mean. So here's the wood, and what I've just done is I've taken another piece of hickory and I've whittled with my knife here. I've whittled a couple of wedge shapes into it, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it in half right there with the saw to have two splitting wedges, which I'll use to split the wood up. Here are the two wedges. I've just cut them in half with the saw, the stick that I showed before, and I've chamfered the top edge with my knife to keep it from splitting too much when I'm hammering it. And here's a stick that I cut from my baton before. It's not too big or heavy, but it'll do the job, and I've just whittled the handle down a little bit. Just took about 30 seconds. So there's my baton, and this is all hickory. Okay, so when I cut this wood off with the saw, I opened up this split, a couple of splits actually, where the wood started to flex and fracture. If I was smart, I would just put my wedge right in there and hammer it down, and that would be the end of the story. I'd have a nice piece of wood split off. But for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to use the clean end that is not split or anything. I'm just going to start, I'm going to set it down, I'm going to take my knife, and there are a few different ways you can do this. You can see that my knife isn't as long as the wood is in diameter. And so your first option would be to do it like that and cut off wedges and just work your way around the perimeter until you had made it all the way through. Or you could do what I'm doing and just hammer your knife straight into the wood. And then kind of pop it out. And then turn it around and make that line all the way across. And you'll notice that my baton is really kind of small. You don't really need a big, huge baton. Okay. Just like that. Now that I've got this split started, you can see it started running there. And on this side, I can set my knife aside. That's all I'm going to use it for right now. Now I'm just going to take the first wedge and set it right here. And just hammer that right in. So now, you just have the wedge here, and you're just going to start hammering it in. Which is slowly opening up this crack a little bit, more on this side. And the wedge is starting to deform a little bit, but it's not too bad. So once the split has started to open up down this way more, what we can do is take this wedge right here and hammer it in just like this, since we have this handy rock here. Which will keep opening the split down the side of the wood until this wedge pops free. Then we just take this wedge again and move it down. And keep working like that. And if you didn't have a handy rock like this, you could just lay it down on the ground and hammer straight down, which would actually be better than hammering like I am. So you can just work your way right down. Just like that. I can hear the wood starting to come apart. And here you can see the splits come all the way down, and it started splitting on the end here. Likewise the split. On the back here it hasn't really gone down at all, because I'm just splitting from the front side. What you could do is make more wedges, which would make this easier, because then you could just pop them in and pop them out much faster. Oh my. Looks like I just broke my baton in half. I'll go cut a new one and keep going. Right, well, what I've just done is gone away with my saw real quick and cut this piece of wood off. It's heavier and it has this big knot right here, so it should hold up a little bit better than the last one. So this wedge has come out pretty easily. I can just set this like that. Keep going. So you can see the wood is splitting apart pretty nicely now. And on the back side I can take this wedge here, hammer that in. So there you go, that's the wood split apart there. And now that this is in smaller pieces, you can see like that, it'll be much easier to baton this way with your knife. Just like that, because it's a much more manageable piece. And then from there, you can keep making this smaller and smaller until you're at the point that you're going to be making fuzz sticks out of it to get your fire going.